It's 2 a.m. You're lying in bed, listening to the house settle. Old houses creak. Everyone knows that. But there's something about the sound coming from behind your wall. That sound isn't settling. It's something else. Something that's been there the whole time, waiting for someone to finally tear through the plaster and find it. When Jonathan Lewis bought his house in Liverpool, he thought the worst thing he'd find was bad wiring. He was wrong. Under the stairs, sealed inside a plastered cavity, something had been waiting since 2016. It was a doll. And it came with a note. The note read, "Thank you for freeing me. Stabbing was my choice of death for them. I hope you have knives." Old houses hold histories, layer upon layer of lives lived, decisions made, objects hidden. Most of what's sealed in walls is mundane. Insulation, forgotten bottles, old newspapers. But sometimes what people find isn't mundane at all. Sometimes what they find defies explanation, or makes them wish they'd never picked up the hammer. The Doll case happened in September 2021. Jonathan Lewis was a schoolteacher. He just bought a terraced house in Walton, Liverpool. The house needed work. He started with the kitchen. That meant tearing out the cupboards under the stairs. That's when he hit the plastered-over cavity. Inside that cavity, sealed away from the world, was a rag doll. Handmade, stained with age, and clutching a folded piece of paper. The note identified the doll as Emily. It claimed her original owners lived in the house in 1961. It claimed they had to go. According to the note, Emily didn't like them. All they did was sing and be merry. It was sickening. The doll, the note claimed, had chosen stabbing. Jonathan posted photos online. The internet did what the internet does. The story went viral within hours. Everyone had a theory. Some said it was cursed. Others said it was a hoax. A few suggested the note was written by someone who knew exactly what they were doing, creating a story that would never fully resolve. Eventually, the previous homeowner came forward. She admitted she'd planted the doll during a kitchen renovation 4 years earlier. It was meant to be a joke. A joke. But here's the thing about that explanation. It doesn't actually explain anything. Who writes a note describing their preferred method of murder and seals it in a wall for strangers? The Emily doll was solved. Sort of. But most discoveries like this don't get explanations. The previous owner doesn't come forward. The story just ends. In early 2025, an Irish homeowner found something that hasn't been explained. There was no one to come forward. Just a discovery that made no sense. Hidden in the wooden structure of their staircase was a camera. Not a modern camera, an old one, but positioned with deliberate precision, aimed directly at the master bedroom above. The homeowner didn't know how long it had been there. They didn't know who put it there. They just knew that for however long they'd lived in that house, something had been watching. That same year, April 2025, a Seattle area couple made their own discovery. They were replacing kitchen cabinets when they found a note tucked deep in the joinery. The note said, "Don't look under the floor." On the back, a string of numbers, 29965308389 No explanation, no signature, nothing else. They didn't look. At least that's what they posted. Maybe they did and found nothing. Maybe they found something they didn't want to share. Or maybe they're still thinking about it. The numbers on the back of that note have never been decoded. Coordinates, a phone number, a date. The internet tried everything. Nothing matched. Some discoveries are pranks. Some are mysteries. And some are traditions. Rituals passed down through generations, sealed in walls by people who believed they were protecting the house. Across Britain and America, renovators have found mummified cats sealed in walls. Dozens of them. Sometimes hundreds of years old. Perfectly preserved. It wasn't cruelty. It was superstition. For centuries, people believed that sealing a cat in the walls would ward off evil spirits, protect the home, keep the darkness out. The cats are still there, in walls across 2 continents. Some have been removed and studied. Most remain where they were placed, sealed in darkness, doing whatever work their owners believe they would do. Not everything found in walls is old. In 2010, 2 women were cleaning out an apartment basement in Florida when they found a trunk. What was inside was wrapped in 1930s newspapers. Inside that trunk were the mummified remains of 2 newborn infants. They'd been there for nearly 80 years. Hidden, forgotten, until they weren't. The investigation that followed couldn't identify who they were or who had hidden them. Too much time had passed. The answers, if they ever existed, had died with whoever knew them. One hidden room discovery went viral for its contents. A black and white photograph of a child, maybe 5 or 6 years old. Behind the child stood a man. The man had no head. The photograph wasn't damaged. It wasn't torn. The man simply had no head in the image, as if he'd never had one. As if he wasn't supposed to be visible at all. A couple renovating their home found a hidden attic room. Inside was a porcelain doll, wrapped in red string. Around it, animal bones, burned incense, scorched paper covered in symbols. They didn't know who had used that room, or for what purpose. They didn't know how long those objects had been there. They cleaned it out, painted the walls white, tried to forget. But some things don't stay forgotten. Old houses remember. They hold on to what's been put in them. The walls keep secrets even after you paint them over. The tradition of hiding things in walls goes back centuries. Messages to future inhabitants, time capsules, prayers written on scraps of paper and tucked into foundation stones. People have always wanted to leave something behind, a record that they existed, a message for whoever comes next. Sometimes those messages are warm, welcoming. Sometimes they're not. Whoever sealed Emily in that wall wanted her to be found. They wanted the note to be read. They wanted someone, a stranger they'd never meet, to feel something. Maybe that's the most unsettling part, not what's hidden in walls, but the intent behind hiding it. The knowledge that someone thought about you before you existed. If you're renovating an old house, you might want to consider what you're getting into. Not just the wiring, not just the plumbing, everything that space is held. Some experts suggest documenting anything unusual before you disturb it. Take photographs. Note the location. What seems strange today might be historically significant or legally important. Consider researching your home's history before you start tearing into walls. County records, previous owners. Sometimes knowing who lived there helps you understand what you find. And if you find something that doesn't feel right, something that makes your stomach turn, you might want to trust that feeling. Some things are better left alone. The Irish homeowner with the camera in their staircase didn't know what to do. Report it? To whom? The previous owner was dead. The house had changed hands 3 times. They removed the camera, threw it away. But they couldn't remove the knowledge. They couldn't unlearn what they now knew about their home. Every night when they walked past that staircase, they thought about it. The angle, the precision. Someone had planned this. Someone had wanted to watch. The Seattle couple with a note. Don't look under the floor. They sold the house 6 months later. They never said why. They never said what they found. Maybe they found nothing. Maybe the floor was just floor joists and subfloor and whatever's supposed to be there. But if that's true, why leave? In Britain, the Museum of London has a collection of objects found in walls. Shoes are the most common. Single shoes, left shoes, children's shoes, hundreds of them. Like the cats, it was superstition. Shoes trapped evil spirits, kept them from entering the home. The left shoe was particularly powerful, the sinister side, the wrong side. Some of those shoes were worn by children who were long dead, their names forgotten, their lives unrecorded. But their shoes remain, sealed in the walls of houses they'll never return to. If you think about it too long, old houses start to feel less like buildings and more like archives. Containers for everything that happened inside them. Everything that was hidden. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, the ones that sit with you after they're over, consider subscribing. We share stories like this every week. Things that make you think twice about the familiar. The Emily doll has probably been thrown away by now. Or maybe it's in a box somewhere in Jonathan Lewis's attic, waiting to be found by someone else someday. The prank continues even after the prankster confesses. The doll exists. The note exists. Someone handled them. Someone wrote those words. The explanation doesn't erase the act. And that's the thing about old houses. You can explain individual discoveries. You can trace them to pranks, superstitions, accidents, but you can't explain the feeling. The feeling that the walls know something. That the house holds a history you weren't invited into, but now can't escape. Jonathan Lewis still lives in that house in Liverpool. He renovated the kitchen, plastered over the cavity. Everything looks normal now. Modern. Clean. But at night, when the house settles, when the floors creak and the pipes knock, does he ever wonder what else might be hidden? What he might have missed? Old houses creak. Everyone knows that. It's just settling, they say. Wood expanding. Pipes cooling. Nothing to worry about. Unless you know what's behind the wall. The house settles. You settle into the house. And somewhere, in the spaces you can't see, something waits. Something that was there before you arrived, and will be there long after you're gone.